So it is Monday again, the 24th of January. I don't know about you, but for me, 2022 is already off to such a fast start. Like seriously, it's like each day that passes by feels like minutes, letting you know to enjoy each day and make every moment count. Anyways, with that being said, today we've got another great recipe to kick off the week. We're making a Spanish salmon and potato stew. This dish is known here in Spain as un guiso de salmon y patatas. Now the beauty of this recipe is that it's made with minimal ingredients, but the flavors are absolutely beautiful, folks. Not only is this recipe very easy to make, but it comes together in just 40 minutes, making it the perfect dish for a busy weeknight dinner or for a relaxed weekend lunch next to a bottle of Spanish wine. All right, let's dive right into this recipe. I'm gonna grab a large stock pot, heat it with a medium heat, and add in about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is 30 milliliters. After heating the olive oil for about 2 minutes, I'm going to add in 1 small onion that I roughly diced and 4 cloves of garlic that I roughly chopped. And we'll mix the ingredients around, that way they're coated in that olive oil. And like I always tell you, you want to make sure you mix this continuously, that way the garlic doesn't brown too quickly and everything evenly sautés. After about 3 to 4 minutes, and the onions are nice and translucent, and the garlic is lightly sauteed, I'm going to add in half a cup of tomato sauce, which is 115 grams. And we'll mix it together and simmer the tomato sauce for a couple minutes. As always, the tomato sauce that I'm using, I made by finely grating tomatoes, but you can also use canned tomato sauce here, or even passata. As the tomato sauce is simmering, let's start getting our potatoes ready. I'm going to cut 2 medium-sized potatoes that have been peeled, washed, and patted dry, each one into small pieces that are ½ inch thick, which is about 1 1/4 centimeters. To make this recipe, I'm using new potatoes. You know, when you're making a stew, you want to use potatoes that are a bit more waxy than starchy, as they hold their shape while they're cooking and they won't get mushy. After simmering the tomato sauce between 3 to 4 minutes and it's slightly thickened up, I'm going to add in the pieces of potato, along with ½ a teaspoon of dried thyme, which is about ½ gram. And we'll season generously with sea salt and freshly cracked black pepper. And we'll give this a gentle mix, that way everything's evenly mixed together. Once everything is well mixed, I'm going to add in 3 cups of cold water, which is 710 milliliters. You can also use broth here. I just prefer to use the water, that way it doesn't overpower the stew. I'm also going to pinch in a 1/4 teaspoon of saffron threads, which is 0.17 grams. As always, you'll find a link to get the saffron threads I'm using from Golden Saffron in the description box below. And we'll add in 1 bay leaf. Then we'll turn up the heat from a medium heat to a high heat, and we'll give this a mix and bring it to a boil. Once the water comes to a boil, I'm going to place a lid on the stock pot and lower the fire to a low-medium heat. And we're going to simmer this between 20 to 25 minutes or until the potatoes are perfectly cooked through. In the meantime, let's start getting the salmon ready. I've got a fillet here of fresh skinless salmon. This is 450 grams, which is about 15 ounces, and the pin bones have already been removed by my fishmonger. If your fillet of salmon has the pin bones, you can easily remove them using a tweezer. I'm going to cut the fillet into 1-inch slices, which is about 2½ centimeters. And then cut the pieces of salmon into 1-inch pieces, which once again is 2½ centimeters, to end up with some cubes of salmon. And we'll season the salmon with a little sea salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. Alright, let's move back to the stock pot. It's been simmering for about 22 minutes, and those potatoes should be perfectly cooked through. I'm going to remove the lid from the stock pot. And look how beautiful this turned out. And you know, you can always tell your potatoes are cooked through. You just pierce them with a toothpick, and if it easily goes in there, but with some resistance, they are ready to go. For the final step, I'm going to add in the pieces of salmon into the stock pot. We'll mix them around, that way they're evenly spread out. and place the lid back on the stock pot, and we're gonna go for another 3 to 4 minutes here. This is enough time for that salmon to be perfectly cooked through. Then I'm going to remove the stock pot from the heat. Transfer some of the stew into a shallow bowl. And we'll sprinkle it with some finely chopped fresh parsley. Check it out, our Spanish salmon and potato stew is done. Once again, this is known here in Spain as un guiso de salmon y patatas. Truly one of those dishes where less is more, using minimal ingredients, but the aromas coming out are absolutely beautiful. Let's give this a try and see how it turned out. You know, today's one of those days where it's very chilly outside, and you know this is gonna hit the spot. Cannot wait to try this one. Here we go. That is absolutely beautiful. Like I told you in the beginning, minimal ingredients, but the flavors are right on the money. That salmon's perfectly cooked, where it's fully cooked through, but it smells in your mouth. And as for the flavors, you have that saffron with that thyme for an explosion of so much goodness, folks. This is another one of those dishes where less is more and simplicity meets extraordinary. Give this a try at home any time of the year, but it's extra special right now during winter as it really warms your soul. Really quick before I go, a shout out to a couple of my patrons, Catherine Clark, Jean, Maybeth Robles, William Judd, Patricia Salem, Manuel J. Rosales, Edward J. Harrison, and David Houston. Again, guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. For the rest of you, if you're not with me on Patreon and you'd like to support Spain on a Fork, you'll find my Patreon link in the description box below and iCard above. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and don't forget to share this video with your family and friends. That way our Spain on a Fork community can continue to grow. Till the next time, hasta luego.